Texas, the baton has been passed from Republican to Republican to Republican. I have a dear friend of mine who ran as a Democrat to be a justice of the peace in a small town in actually my hometown, Dimmitt, Texas. And she's lifelong Democrat. She served in the county, worked in the county jail for 30 years or such, right? Ran as justice of the peace for pretty much every election cycle. And this past cycle, 2020, she ran as a Republican and she won on her first try. Why?
Oh my God.
In a place that is 66% Hispanic, we can't turn a place blue. Now, I'm not saying that Hispanics or blacks or minorities should vote Democrat, but I will say this. The values that I was raised up with and a lot of the people who I know from these cultures like to extend their hand and help somebody who's in need, right? I've yet to meet somebody who has stumped their foot on top of somebody while they're struggling in a situation, right? I've never met anybody like that. So when I say Democrats and minorities and all them should be voting, because our values align with the Democratic Party, you know? And so today I come to you asking you for your support. Like these gentlemen here, I'm running for the United States Senate to represent Texas to defeat Ted Cruz in 2024. And I grew up in a small town, Dimmitt, Texas. Very small town. If you don't know where it's at, there's one red light, right? When I met my wife, when my wife came out there with me and I gave her the grand tour of the town, I took my time and it took all of 15 minutes, right? So it's small. And I've seen these places in Texas be neglected for too long. Places like Texas City, y'all are very fortunate because y'all are, attached to like Houston, right? So you guys get to benefit from the growth of Houston. You know, a lot of what's happening in Houston kind of benefits you guys, just like Helotes does for a place like San Antonio, right? These New Braunfels little areas, they benefit from major cities. But what about the smaller cities? What about the small towns in Texas that have been forgotten, that have completely just been erased? They look like a gold town, a gold mine, or a ghost town. We've treated those towns like gold mines. We go in there like Tombstone, Arizona. Y'all seen the movie, right? If you go in there and we pump and dump, we exhaust them of all their resources, and then we leave them out to fend for themselves. We leave them out to pasture. And that's unacceptable. Because these resources, my kids get to go to places like NASA, right? At school in San Antonio, in a city like San Antonio where they're going to school in public schools, might I add. All of my children are in public school. They get to go visit places like NASA because of the resources and just the abilities that our city councils and our elected officials provide for our ISDs and our schools and our children. And these other little towns don't get to experience that. So that's one of the reasons I'm running. I've been living in San Antonio, so like I said, I grew up in Dimmitt, Texas, but I joined the military. I served. I was one of the first to deploy to Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom, September 11, 2001. Thank you. I served my country during the time of war, not after, during. In fact, we just started. It was a scary time, in case you don't know. In case you don't know somebody who served when September 11 happened, it was terrifying. Everybody, even my family, was like, we told you not to join, right? It was a scary time. So I deployed. I served on the USS Enterprise, I served on the USS Theodore Roosevelt, and then I did a tour in Camp Taji, Iraq, which is like right outside of Baghdad, right? Very, very dangerous place. And when I got out of the military, I got out, resided in San Antonio, the best place on earth because it's Military City, USA. Just so you know, a lot of veterans are enticed to come to San Antonio. So that was enticing for me, being Texas and the culture that San Antonio preserves for our Hispanic community. Of course, there were just too many deals for me not to reside there, right? And so I resided there with my wife. I got married, went to school, got my undergrad in accounting, got my MBA at Baylor University, and now I have a small business. I have a few small business ventures that I have been involved with since I've completed my schooling, right? But the reason that I'm running is I have been keeping up with what's happening on the news, watching what's happening, this insurrection that took place, the freeze. And just so you know, from the moment that I decided to run, for this past year and a half, I've been driving all over Texas already. I've been knocking on doors, talking to people. What's important to you? What are you afraid of? What keeps you up at night, right? So a long list has already accumulated since then So keep adding to what's happening every day on the news. You keep adding to Ted Cruz trying to bail Donald Trump out of all these situations that he's in, right? So that list continues to grow as days go on. So that's why I decided to run, okay? And so I guess what I'm trying to say here is I'm asking you all for your support. I'm asking you all to at least, if whoever the front runner is or whoever wins this primary, that you all put every effort. I like to think of the Democratic Party. Now I know, forgive me if I offend anybody, but here's what I'm going to say. I think of the Democratic Party as a church. You have different counties with different chairs. That's the preacher. We need to go out and get more people and bring them in. Bring them in and grow this idea that we have, that we can do better for each other, that we can treat each other with respect, that we can treat each other with dignity, that we don't have to look down at each other and say that I'm better than you just because I made it on my own. I didn't need no help from any other party or anything to help me, and that's a lot, because even farmers get subsidiaries. Even there's so many businesses right now that get bailed out who want to say that they don't take from our government, you know? And so that's a big lie. So today I ask that you support me, support one of these candidates. I know I'm going to get behind one of these guys. When I made this decision to run, I did not just decide to run short term. I don't want to run and then next year you don't know who I am if I don't win. No, I'm in this. I'm dedicated. I'm devoted. And we got to make some change in Texas, all right? And the best minds and hearts and the people who truly care about you, each and every one of you, are not elected right now. How many people here feel like they're being represented in Texas? Anybody? Does Ted Cruz represent any of you?
No.
Does Greg Abbott's ideas align with any of yours?
No.
Let's do something about it. Let's be passionate about it. Let's get somebody. Let's talk to somebody. Let's say, hey, I know that you think your vote doesn't matter, but it does, and I'm going to tell you why. I just mentioned the hometown that I'm from, Denver, Texas. 66% Hispanic, right? If you take away all the blacks, the Hispanics, the Native Americans, the multiracial relationships, if you take away everybody who's a person of color, let me just say that. If you take away everybody who's a person of color, you all know what's going to happen in that town? Complete economic collapse. Do you want to know why? Because nobody's going to do the work that we do for the hours that we put in for the pay that we get. Nobody's going to do that. So me getting that message across to these small town Hispanics and blacks and people that everybody says don't like to vote, when I get that message across to them, they realize, they hit that light bulb like, he's right. If I don't go to work tomorrow and everybody don't go to work tomorrow, this place shuts down. That's how powerful our vote is. So we got to get together, come together, and hopefully work together, and let's flip Texas. All right? I'm Aaron Arguijo. I'm running for the U.S.